Okay, the entire reason that I'm doing this video over is because they are interfering with the recording, the screen recording. They're trying to get me to separate the parts so that they can manage the perception, how someone perceives this matter. So this is just an attempt for me to put all the parts together. It should be pretty easy this time. Okay, right now I'm in downtown Accra. I just left the police station. But, I just left the police station. But, I'll talk about that part again. What happened when I came out, which put me on this back street. I'm headed to this little key bank thing. This video is about my experience at the Summit County Jail. December 2020. Okay, so today is the 27th of December 2020. This video is something like a continuous, I suppose. I think what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to go back and insert maybe a photo or a short video that supports anything that might have went on between the 16th of December and now, because it's taken me some time to get to this video. This is about Summit County Jail, my experience there. And, the charge that I faced. Hold on one second. And, Yeah. We stopped and we chit-chatted in the middle of Astor for that.
For years.
It seemed that way, don't it?
It is that way. You know, some things we haven't done, some things we have. And riding in the car is not one of them. You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Same
and
for you.
all that.
Real quick, that's the type of statements that they're capturing in conversation to support a lie.
And I would like to do like I did last time I saw you.
What's that?
You tell me.
You gave me a newspaper.
There you go. I plan to be here a long time.
Okay. Well, what's your name again?
Anthony.
Anthony. I should have known that. I was going to say Tony, but I wasn't sure.
Well, I used to be Tony a long time.
Really? You go by that for short?
That was my name, you know, since I was born.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was Tony Kid, you know.
Right, right.
But when I became a man, whenever that was,
Snuck up on you.
I still
Okay.
and you know what? And that was one of my childhood dreams.
Was it really?
I did not know what I wanted to be when I grew up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but I knew this. I wanted everybody to call me Mister.
Okay.
And when I was a kid, if we called you Mister, you know,
It meant you were
a person of
a man.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had maturity on it.
Whatever it was.
Right.
That was it. Nah, I got it. Whatever it is.
Anthony, I just got out of jail.
What? I can't even imagine you commit the crime.
Well, I couldn't either, but you know, I told you I'm fighting a difficult fight, you know, with the government and it's the elements that are tied to that are.
Oh, okay, let's see. Okay. Now, one thing is part of the legal battle.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta go to jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you go because of a crime, that don't make no sense.
Well, what about beating the devil's ass, an assault?
Wait a minute, say that again.
I said, well, what about beating the devil's ass, assaulting the devil? Like it, I took a plea deal so that it wouldn't get bumped up to attempted murder. I don't play when it comes to the devil.
Who was the person?
There was a guy that was stalking me.
Okay, the guy was stalking. And it was your interpretation. He was of the devil.
Yeah.
Now, doesn't the Bible say, flee from evil?
Well, no, look. I talk about matters that compromise the Bible and the Constitution. DNA is a matter of characteristics and traits. Satan's DNA is in how you act and behave. So, I know the devil when I see the devil.
No argument for me. Because you know what? There's more than what I know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, all I can do is pray for you. And let's be happy.
Yeah. Well, I got your number, Anthony. Maybe when I get a phone, I'll give you a call.
Just for you to go.
I sure could use one.
Well, what else do I have to do?
I don't know. You know, it's weird. You kind of know by now. Like you said, you always, when we talk and stuff, but we ain't, I'll never seem to have the time, pretty much, you know, because of this thing that I'm battling. Folks offer me calls all the time, but it's these guys, you know, I can tell that they're interested in something else. And I don't have time for that. I just really need someone that wants to genuinely help along the way. You know?
Help with what?
Something like a phone.
A
You know,
Now
like.
you said you don't want a phone from them other guys. Because the other guys got one thought on their mind.
Yes.
But you would genuinely accept a telephone.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I would do. I'm the kind of person who would genuinely accept that offer.
Okay.
And then I'm one of them kind of person. I'm not going to charge you for that money or whatever. Now, I am not going to stop anybody who wants to bestow blessings upon me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, it ain't none of that tit for tat.
Right.
Just because I want to.
I've never been that way, you know, like, I think I told you this, I've always had, you know, like, money has never been an object to me. You know, I believe we have it to use. You know, I spend more money on people than I spend on anything. But, okay, they reset him. They erased all the memories. Another agent was using the identity at this point. Yeah. Oh, she gave me one. Well, look, I'll give you a call, Anthony. All right, I'll find a way to get a hold of you. Okay, take care. I will. Okay, just a little tidbit of information. I've come across Anthony on 5 different occasions, I believe. He was always out, you know, looking to run across me. That's not a coincidence. But this was the worst I'd seen him look. Like, well, you heard what just happened. You make what you want to make out of it. But that's an example of type of situations that I encounter. Here he comes. Okay, real quick, I want to give you an example of what you just saw there. Like, a lot of the times in my videos, you see me stop and my eyes will begin to look around. That's a reflection of membranes, me witnessing what's taking place around me, those things that are growing closer, coming near. I'm seeing it happen in the spirit or remotely before it happens in person. So you can see I had a feeling that he was coming, which is why I look back. But something else I wanted to know is, and the other thing is, I was going to know, like, he's one of the rare identities that I haven't completely rejected, because he has not been too condescending or disrespectful, I suppose, towards me. You know, he hasn't done anything that I would find like overly disrespectful. And sometimes there's some agents that show up like that, but then there's others that show up and they want to be condescending and stuff, and they want to play extra stupid. And as you can see, if you would have heard all of this conversation with me and Anthony, you find that he's able to play stupid too, but it's nothing like when some of these younger guys who are in the know and more in tune with the ways of the world, you know, like for this time in this era. I hope that makes sense. I love y'all taking a ride to nobody, but it's cold enough today. My feet freezing. So I'm saying that before he pulls up. Let me rewind. You know, normally I was taking a ride to everybody, but it's cold enough today. My feet freezing. You came back to offer me a ride.
I got a mask. I do.
Okay, pay attention. That entire time he was driving on the side of oncoming traffic, the same side that I was walking on. You did say that before. You said, come on, I guarantee your safety.
Well, all you gotta do is get in.
I do have a little ways up the road. I'm going to Waterloo. My feet are cold.
It's cold outside.
So I think I'll take you up on it. Should I get back to with the newspapers?
Get in the front. You get in the front.
I am not going to make a mess of these. Oh, goodness, please. Hold on. Okay, so today is the 27th. Okay. I told you I have it. Today is the 27th of December. I just got in, I don't know, maybe a half an hour ago. It's 11:40 right now. My back hurts so bad. They're talking about how they put together under is different, suggestion and impression. They were discussing yesterday how they instructed them to stay away from my social media pages. And it's kind of been the thing. I noted that in July or August, when they first said it, one of the videos that I uploaded around that time. So somewhere in one of those description boxes, it'll have it. But anyhow, they're going desperate. They're acting like they're going to have them act out something that they have no reason to act out. They're also acting like, because they know I'm hostile, and that I'm not going to respond well to a situation like that. They want me to go back to jail. That's what these government agents are saying. So they decided that they wanted me to go back to jail because I wasn't leaving my apartment and they were facing some difficulty with manipulating reality. So in that whole thing that you heard me say about them threatening to have the neighbors or to act out something as the neighbors that they had no reason to act out, that would not be the first time that they did that. Okay, picking up where I left off. Summit County. What took place was I was at the library. There's a guy that goes there that stalks me. He literally stay on like the west side of town, come all the way over here to stalk me. And most time he stays till I leave. He makes innuendos, and rarely he pops up like somewhere else on the web or whatever. And I'll witness him, just like the government talks to me, I've witnessed him communicating with the government covertly, like now you can tell when someone's having an internal dialogue. So over the year or so, it's been a lot of activity, and I've been fed up with him for a long time. And I've been warning them about that identity for a long time. So anyhow, this guy, he's like 6'3", 230 pounds. This takes place in front of a camera. Like literally, the camera captures it all. But in the report, you'll see that they removed the incident from the camera. That's not the first time that they made sure that I didn't show up on camera. It was incriminating. One, they know I can prove what's taking place or explain what's taking place, and then they also know that I have things that I can reference and prove. So I have some evidential things associated with it. Like I said, it takes place right in front of the camera, and this is like right as the library is about to close. Now let me tell you something. Because you ain't doing nothing, but you ain't got no business doing. Right before that, he was just like sitting in a different area. Then he got up and he moved to disassociate himself with what was just taking place. And he often gets up and he'll come and try to get facial recognition. And when he does, I'm caught on the camera all the time, like dropping my head so folks can't get facial recognition. They're acting like I'm in touch with those that I'm not in touch with. That's the covert side of it. Like, I could go into a lot of detail behind that, but I'm just going to stick to this incident right now. So, like I said, it's incriminating because, for one, if you weren't doing something, he had no reason to respond the way that he did. So, when, oh goodness, hold up. That was, okay, so anyhow, Kelly Bunt's daughter passed me. Because you weren't doing nothing, there was no reason to find me suspicious. It's not the first or second time. Like I said, he started showing up last year. So, there's been a lot of activity, and I'll always sign when he comes, and because occasionally they get a little desperate and they'll try to get closer. So he'll sit. Like, he piss me the fuck off, I'll get up and move. Now, he's not one of the ones that I've asked to not sit near me before. I never got around to that. At the end of the day, like, he plays it cool for the most part. Like, he'll often say, like, just where he can see me. So
the biggest problem is they're suggesting that he's my mom, and I have not seen my mother in 2 years.
I go up, and this is what my left arm. I grab him real quick, and like when I went to grab him, like he had no way of knowing that was about to happen. He had no reason to expect it. Like I said, he was being communicated with. So literally on key, and I'm quick. Like, it happened so fucking quick. It's actually quite impressive. But he dropped his neck down and he locked it. So now I just have him, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I went and I put the knife in the back, because now I can't cut his throat. So I put it in the back of his neck, and I'm pushing the knife. This is a sharp knife. They saved him with magic. So the knife won't go in for the life of me. During that time, I couldn't think to stab him right in the top of his head. Because that would have done it too. So now this struggle, you know, like this lock that I have on his neck, you know, and him tussling around and trying to get away and stuff, that goes on for a couple of minutes, and then, you know, he finally gets out of it. And once I can't get the knife in, I'm mad as fuck. So, and I'm shocked. So I back up. I realized, you know, they were using physics against me and manipulating matter. They made it where I could not puncture him. And he had on a thin jacket. Hold on. Okay, picking up where. Okay, right now.
Okay, so what you just witnessed, that was where they removed the little orange dot from the screen, and I couldn't tell whether or not I was still recording. What it doesn't show is where I have to go into the settings in order to attempt to try to abort the recording and make it stop. It doesn't show any of that.
So anyhow, and I'm mad as fuck, like I said, because I know I'm about to get discharged no matter what now. Now watch part A of this video. Watch part A first. This is picking up where I left off. Okay, so anyhow, like I said, this was a couple minutes later. Now he's standing up or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, wait, no," you know, like, APD. So anyhow, and I'm mad as fuck, like I said, because I know I'm about to get discharged no matter what now. Like, they done fucked me over completely. They ain't gonna let me kill your ass. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm just kind of seeing. Look, you have to see this shit, okay? Because it got to the point. Let me put these A's on. Okay, so anyhow. Okay, so I'm picking up where I left off. They, so like I said, you had to see this. Because it got to a point where, like, I knew that I'm going to get discharged no matter what. And I'm like, they were keeping me from harming him. So, look, I'm never enraged. There's two things that you need to know about this situation. One, I do not walk around carrying knives. I got hands. And, the other is, so, like, the only reason I had that on me was because I intended on using it as a weapon. I would have been better off using my motherfucking hands and dogging him. So anyhow, but there's no way I could have knew that was going to happen. So, you know, so now look, like I said, he's standing, and he's 6'3", 235 pounds. And I'm mad, like, but they're, I told you, they, have a way of hiding my anger. Like I'm mad right now, and you probably can't even tell it. They're,
And I beat your ass quick.
Lots and lots of things medicated remotely.
To
So
shit
that
all the
the
way out.
manifestation or the passion associated with of shock because he's standing now. I'm out of shock. But I told you I was like, when I seen that it wouldn't puncture him, I was looking like, what the fuck? And I'm gonna get a charge. And I couldn't even, you know what I'm saying? So he's standing, and I'm like, you know, like, testing. Because I realized they're not allowing me to cut. So, you know, I poked a couple times. And like I said, I'm never raised on that, like, you know, like a maniac or anything. There's none of this or anything. But then, like I said, I'm like, and now I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why ain't he bleeding? So I throw one of these across his face, and it cut him right here. And that's when he started bleeding. But on the report, it says he has 3 severe lacerations. So he probably got cut a couple times in between. I mean, he put his hands up a couple of times. So I might have caught him there, you know, like during the poke, because he was trying to keep me from, you know, getting his jacket. Had a lot of shreds. And like I said, it wasn't that type of situation. Okay, so then I'm talking about it was so quiet. Folks were in the library. No one knew anything was going on. Although he was saying like, hey, wait, stop. You know what I'm saying? Like it was quiet. It was just him and I in the back of the library. And there were like 3 people in the front. And then there was the entire staff. So about 3 or 4 of them and the officer at the desk. That's the end of it. So look, now he's like got the officer's attention or whatever, and the officer is approaching or whatever, and like I just kind of like walk away from him and leave the, you know, I'm approaching the officer now, and I set the knife down on the table. It's like a little kid table. I set it there, and he said, "What's going on?" I said, "I cut him." You know, my demeanor, the way that I'm talking to him is no different than I talk to him any other time. Like I said, I'm not even vocalizing the type of anger that I'm feeling. So I'm like, I cut him. He was like, "Did you cut him?" You know, and I'm like, "Yeah, I just told him that, but I ain't say that." I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, you know, like he's about to have like this kindergarten type thing going on. Like, "Well, why did you do that? Well, isn't it?" I said, "Cuff me. Like, don't waste my motherfucking time. Cuff me." I already know how he operates anyhow. This officer, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him in a second. So, on my video again, they are tearing my video up. I wonder if I should just keep recording. But that just completely crushed my train of thought. Like, I was going to tell you about this officer. That he's an example of, you know, an individual who's morally corrupt. For the simple fact that he can see an individual come in. I've had to talk to him about guys stalking me at the library before. And he's able to witness silent crimes take place. And hold up, guys, is plural. I've had to talk to him about that once, but I've had 2 conversations with him. Like, not say anything. He's never known me. He sees me come. I stay there for hours and hours at a time and damn near every day, you know, like, so whether him identifying that with, you know, me, you know, working on something, or, you know, that's of great depth, or being extremely smart and intelligent. Instead, he's like, he finds it mentally ill. You're telling me that you seriously find it. Before today, you found it it looked like a mental illness to see me come to the library every motherfucking day and be on foot and stay to myself and all kind of other shit. No, it looks like I'm a woman that's been wronged. That's what it looks like. But that's the type of shit you're not able to entertain. So he's looking at me like I'm looking at the motherfuckers that I know don't have no business being. I watch part A. So I turn around and he cuffs me. He takes me to the back and he calls for backup and he calls for EMT. And I'm sitting there and the guy, one of the guys that responded to this call just so happens to be the guy that was involved when the city of Akron conspired in January of 2020. The Naciano or some stuff. DD and UZEIO or something like that. Badge number 1349. So, this motherfucking jackass, he walks in and he's like, oh, it's you. What'd she do? And the officer's like, she cut a guy. And he's like, oh. With his hands. Okay, so I'm picking up where I left off. Okay, they're attacking me really bad right now. Like, they're draining an excessive amount of energy from me. Like, they've been losing their minds all day at the thought of me doing this video, rehashing something that took place almost 4 weeks ago that they told folks that I would not remember. It's a month old. So anyhow, he comes in and he's like, oh, it's you. And he's asked this other officer. He said, oh no, the other officer said, oh, you know her. And he said, yeah, 4-3. And the other officer says, obviously. 4-3 means mental. Someone's mentally ill. So they just did that in front of my face. So then he goes, what did she do? And like I said, the damn officer at the library ain't even got no reason to try to pin no shit like that on me. He said she cut a guy. Not once did they even think that, you know what I'm saying? Like they will not entertain me being wronged. Because they know that I'm being wronged and they're in on it and they're selling DNA as well. These are agents. These are identities that the agents are using. And he said, with his hands in his pocket, like a jackass. Are you taking your meds? He tried me with the "Are you taking your meds" line, and that bitch knows good and motherfucking well that I'm being wrongfully medicated from the conversation that we had in the stairway in my apartment. But that's how he just tried to play me. And I said no. And he said, well, why? I wonder if there's a body cam recording associated with this. He said, well, why? And I said, because I don't need them. And he said, he didn't say anything else. He put his head down and he kind of paced around a little bit. Then he went outside. You know, he had a discussion with another officer. There was 3 that showed up. And I don't know if the third guy that I saw had a partner with him or not. So anyhow, they were waiting on a female to come and search me. So they called for her and, you know, they just kind of walked around. They discussed surveillance, you know, whether or not it took place right in front of a surveillance camera. And one of the things that the arresting officer said right away was, you know, like when they talked about it, you know, like evidence, he was like, yeah, we got the knife or whatever. He was like, yeah, you know, if it just depends on which way it's pointing. It's pointed right there. It's pointed right there. So anyhow, the female officer comes. She's like, okay, I'm going to search you. You know, and she's like, I'm going to take one of these cuffs off, you know, but if you do, it's going to be a bad day. And I said in so many words to her, you know, like, no, you got, like, for you. It'll be bad for you. And she said, no, I'm just telling you. And I was like, no, I'm just telling you. That's a threat. You know, bitch with a badge. So she left them on. She cut my bag. And I'm like, they're fucking pigs. They always trying to tear shit up. I'm like, because I asked her, I said, you just can't undo it.
like a motherfucker, like try not being an animal for a day. So anyhow, she cuts it and she searches me, and she's like, okay. So I sit back down and I wait, and I was waiting on the wagon to show up. That same wagon from the video you saw in front of the you saw it. It's in the drawing of where this video is, like one of the first few. The guy that they arrested up front. It put me in one of those. So, and they will not acknowledge all the motherfucking crimes that are being committed against me. They switched the cuffs. Get in the back of this. I'm talking about they're ignoring physical harm. They're ignoring proof. They're ignoring a paper trail. They don't want to see none of that. They won't entertain it. And they separate you from your belongings. You know, like the county won't take them. So APD took my bag. You know, and it's crazy because the officer that was going through my bag and put my other stuff in there, like he put my scarf and my face covering in there. And when he did, he was like, you know, I'm just going to put all these things in here, you know. But I see him look at the sheet of paper. So in my book bag, I have 2 packets. Like one's 40 pages, another's 20 pages. And then I have one single sheet of paper. That one single sheet of paper happened to be the one that I removed from the document, but it's a printout of like the things that I've caught the neighbors saying. So it's nothing but quotes and maybe some things they've done. You're like some things that's changed, you know, like things that were said that they were going to do before they did them. So that one sheet of paper is in there, and I seen him like kind of glance at it, and then, you know, he didn't pay any money to put his stuff back. But I suppose once, you know, I got in the wagon and, you know, they were discussing some things on their way, you know, he might have mentioned it. So now I'm at the county. I get to the county, you know, like they put you in this, when you go in, you stay in that hallway for a short while, and they give you some slippers, and they ask you your sizes, and they get you this little tuxedo bag type thing, because that's what you're going to put your clothes in, and you're going to put on a jumper, like not a jumper, but you know, a top and bottom. So first person I go see is the nurse. And I'm sitting there, I'm talking to the nurse, and the nurse is being like, cool, you don't know what to, you know what I'm saying? Like, he eventually asked me what I did, but he being like, cool, but he was covert cool. You get what I'm saying? He was just like, kind of letting me know that he knew who I was, but he did that thing with my blood pressure. He set me up, so he snaked me. So anyhow, I got this thing on my finger, you know, the little thing that reads your blood pressure or whatever, and he's in there, he's talking and he's joking and stuff or whatever, and typing. I'm like, yeah, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, okay, 119 over 89, you know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't fucking with my shit today. So he's like, what was your blood pressure? Or whatever, and I told him, I said, oh, it changed. I said, but it was 119 over 89. And he said, So he took it off, put it back on, and then when I got another good read, like a read that wasn't as high, he didn't take that one either. He puts the cuff on, and he takes it and gives me a high number. He's like, oh, your blood pressure's a little high. So that's 3 different reads. After I told him the first one was okay. So anyhow, now I go and I take my shower. They have you go in this little room, shower. You have to do this squat test because they're trying to make sure you don't got nothing tucked in your vagina or your butt. So you squat and you cough. It's weird. Dehumanizing. All this shit is in place because, anyhow. Hold up. Did I already say that I'm what would be saw as a victim in this case? I hope that sets in at some point. So, I'm going to take a break. Hold on. Okay, they're attacking me really.
Okay, what's happening right now is they are looking at how many of the details that I'm able to disclose, and they're blocking a lot of things. So like they're kind of probing, like they're flashing images of certain situations and looking at how much information comes to mind and blocking some of the things. So as I'm looking at what's taking place, they're quickly blocking some of the things, and I'm not able to access it. So this intake process, like I said, I go shower and I get in this uniform. Then I go and I sit and I talk to this other officer. It's a male officer, and he's doing like the intake process, like officially like putting me in the system or whatever. And we were going over some things, they were mad, like remotely they were mad because I updated my address, and when you update it at the county, it kind of overrides the BMV, and that was like one of the issues that I ran into before with like getting a pistol and just ID, whatever. None of that matters. So did the intake process or whatever, and this guy was actually cool too. I was disappointed with my mugshot because let me tell you something. Okay, when you get your mugshot done, they have like this camera. It's in the ceiling, so like I'm looking up at this camera right now. That's like actually supposed to be a good angle. Okay, but theirs is like positioned way up like this, and it's at a distance or whatever, and it causes you because you have to look straight ahead. They don't want you to be like, you know what I'm saying? So you look straight ahead, but it causes your eyes to go up. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, and when it prints, the more they condense the picture, you look just like a demon. I was trying to keep the badge to show it, and she told me I couldn't take it. So anyhow, I've been searching for my mugshot and I haven't been able to find it. Like I even got a little database. I'm gonna show you if it's still on here. Of like the arrests that were made during the time that I was there, and I didn't pop up on that either. So, like I said, he was decent too, this guy. And so he's like, he's like, you're not going to be going upstairs tonight. He was like, because everyone's in isolation. And he was like, so you're going to be down here with us for the night and blah, blah, blah. So like, I'm in a cell that's behind him. I can't sleep. They give me a mat. I asked him about food. He's like, it won't be till about 5:30 in the morning or whatever. Gives you your little mat or whatever. There's no pillow and some covers. And I can't sleep. They won't allow me to sleep. The government, those surveilling me would not allow me to sleep. Because, I've talked about this in the past. It goes back to that whole, well, if she goes to sleep, they're going to know who she is, and we're trying to get them to mistreat her type thing. We don't want them treating her no different than they treat everybody else type thing. So I'm laying there, and I'm just laying. And I'm listening to all the stuff that's going on around me. And the homeless guy, this is in drawing awareness too. They put him right next to me, but this is like later at night or maybe early morning. They put him next to me. That video is titled something like The Demon from Terry House. So anyhow, the cops that showed up at the library show up at the county. And he comes in to clear the neighbors. So he comes in red herring and talking about stuff that he don't know. And I'm listening. And like it's crazy because like the little officer that was with him, the one that I said was like packing my bag and stuff, after he inventoried it, like he was the one that came and peeked to see if I was up and listening. And I caught him peeking and like being like scared and turning the fuck away. Like coming being like, like he knew he was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing type thing. So anyhow, he comes and he's trying to clear the neighbors, like just in case. And he was talking about a written statement. He said, yeah, I'm trying to get somebody to write a statement or whatever, and he doesn't want to coming back there. He was talking about the library at that point, but how remote harassment goes. They swore up and down he was talking about everything else. The entire time I was there, they suggested I got put out my apartment, like there was no protocol for that, and all kind of stuff. So they were cursing and spelling, and they were. Wait a second. So he comes. He said, yeah, and the one guy was like, so he was acting like he went and he talked to the neighbors, and he said, and the one guy was like, yeah, so what? Like, what am I not supposed to have a bonfire? You know, and this is the same thing that officer, the one that I just said, did my intake and was like being decent towards me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that officer from the library, he showed up to shape the perspective of him. And once he did that, like once he smeared me, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? He was talking about my apartment and stuff. He was like, yeah, she don't have no furniture. You know what I'm saying? Like, going in a way. So I'm just laying here and I'm taking it in. And eventually I get up and I go to the door, but they gone now. It's like as soon as I'm about to make a scene, they're gone. But I was trying to get all the information I could. So, that, like I said, that intake officer, he was passing it on. He was passing it on. And then they had another guy, like, that came in the middle of the night, black guy with dreads. And he was on the payphone talking or whatever. But he was on the payphone talking like he knew me. So let me tell you something. They were acting like I went viral, okay? They were acting like it hit the news. They were acting like all kind of stuff. And this guy, he comes in, he's on the payphone with somebody, and he's like, yeah, you know, and she used to be such and such on Facebook. Like, that's the part that I'm worried about mentioning, because I don't like to know what I don't see. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, I told you in the past, like, one of the issues that, or one of the elements of gang stalking is staging conversation. So sometimes they'll stage something, you know, and you can see I was skilled in knowing the difference between the two, you know, so, like, but occasionally, you know, like, I'm still really, like, I don't jump right into stuff like that, you know, like, I just, I listen. And then I listen before acting. So, anyhow, now it's 5:30. And breakfast is here. I haven't slept. But you know what? They're not there to make sure you're sleeping. So no one knows that I haven't slept. All they know is that I'm laying there with my eyes closed. So, they come, and breakfast is a piece of cake in between two pieces of bread and a pack of peanut butter. So I'm looking like, what the fuck is, you know, this is what I'm thinking. I didn't throw a fit. She was like, you know, unlocked the door, came in and set it on. She was like, breakfast, I just want to sit right here. I was like, okay. But I got up and I looked at it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? What is this? And then, like, one of those little cartons of juice, they don't even give you, like, they don't give you the you know how, like, in elementary they got like the small little milk, and then they got the juice. They were given the small ones. Anyhow, so I'm like, what the fuck? And I ended up skipping. I think I might have pinched off the cake a little bit. You know, lunch came around. It's horrible. I'm going to tell you about these meals, but I'm going to tell you about the meals at the end because it's not as relevant. Matter of fact, maybe I should. Anyhow, so now, later in the day comes. This is later the next day. So this is the 1st of December. This is the 1st of December now. And I'm going to be going upstairs this evening. So we go through the meals, you know, lunch and dinner. And then she's like, okay, you know, probably it's time. So we go. And one of the things during intake was, he was asking me, he was like, you know, about an emergency contact. And I was telling him I don't have one. He was like, no, like, you know, it's just something like, I get what an emergency contact is. I told him, I said, I understand. I was like, but imagine not being in touch with anyone. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I don't have one. I just don't have anyone to put on file. And he was like, well, you're not going to be able to use the phone. And I was like, that's okay. I ain't got nobody to call, you know? So,
anyhow, fast back to where I was. I go upstairs and I go in there and she's looking at what I have. And I just have these sheets with me, really. And she's like, you don't have a cup or whatever? And I'm like, no. And she brings me back a cup in a bowl, but it's a dirty cup in a bowl. A little dirty brown cup and dirty little brown bowl. And she's like, the soap's right here. This is right here. You're upstairs. And so she's like, right now they're spending 23 days in the cell. And, you know, you come out for 23 hours. You use the kite or, you know, make a call. I'm like, okay. And she tells me where my cell is, you know, and I run me some water at the sink downstairs. This is like 5A2 pod. I'm in cell number 19. Cell number 19, in between 17 and 23. No, 17 and 21. That's not right. I'm in cell number 21. Because 23, 24, 23. 22, 21. Okay, yeah, I'm in 21. In between 23 and 19. Did you see how they just did that? I'm telling you. It's bad. Like I'm recording right now and you're seeing what you're seeing of this. They're capturing the same thing, but they'll like purposefully like switch a date, switch a number to get the number that they desire. They were trying to call that girl next to me, call me her the entire time. I'm going to tell you what was going on in those cells. So anyhow, I'm in 21, in between 19 and 23. And I go upstairs, you know, after I my things, and I'm like, there's a bunk, there's a toilet, and a sink, and there's a chair, and a little desk, and there's a window. And they have radio at the county. They got a little radio box, like thing. It's built into the wall. You can push the button. It got 4 stations, maybe 5. It was days before I listened to it. So let me tell you something. Like I said, this is the 1st of December. They laid off of me for like the first 2 days in that cell, and then they went all the way in. This is what I'm thinking. Because I got a bond. Oh, I skipped arraignment court. Hold on. Okay, so anyhow, arraignment court. That's the same day. I think it was like 9 something that morning. Okay. So anyhow, I get up there and I'm watching them do their normal. They're doing it remotely, so they're videoing in, you know, and they're in the courtroom and they're looking at you and you're looking at them in the courtroom. Yeah, anyhow, whatever. So, and they're doing their normal one too, you know, like pushing a motherfucking sheet through, and you know, just no one's different. No one's different to them. You're all criminals. And so I go and I sit here and I'm listening to the judge or whatever, and he's telling me what I'm being, he's telling me what my charge is or whatever. And the first thing I realized when I get this pink piece of paper is that they did not press charges, and that the city, not just the city, but the state and the county picked it up. That were corporate entities. So I'm like, okay. So it's like discharge, you know, blah, blah, blah. I requested a signature bond. He denied it. So now I have to sit. I got to sit until my next court date. And my court date is on the 15th of December. So I have to sit for 2 weeks. So that's the end of that. He's like, he was like, good luck, you know. Like, hopefully you get to talk to your lawyer, you know, pretty much before your hearing. I go upstairs. And
some weird shit happened in between there. Because like I said, it's like all the little filthy shit. And so I go back. Oh, I go back downstairs to the intake area or whatever. This is before I get moved upstairs. And now I'm upstairs and I'm in my cell. Fast forward. And I told you they laid off me for like the first 2, maybe 3 days. And then they started attacking me really, 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 really bad. They started attacking me really, really bad. Okay, hold on 1 second. This is just a real quick. I'm running out of record time, so I'm gonna try my best to fit all of this video in, but it's still, like you saw, it has like 15 minutes left, and I don't think I have that much record time left. So worst case scenario, I'm gonna end up cropping the end of this video because it does end after this, and put it beneath this video. Damaged. To everything, where you're going to be able to find, like, they didn't want to give me paper or nothing. I'm talking about the answer. When I first got there, it wasn't a big deal, you know what I'm saying? Like, the deputy gave me 6 sheets of paper and 2 pencils. And so, you know, it's not even like I was asking for a lot, but the answer to everything is, you got to get that on commissary or Kaif or whatever. And I'm like, I ain't got nobody put money on my books. And the food is horrible. I'm talking about, like, it just made it to where it's edible. The food is horrible in jail. I'm gonna do a separate video about the food. So I'm like, and I'm looking at this Kaif thing, this little digital thing that they got. They're like, if you need, you know, such and such, you know, this is a way to reach out. You can't reach out to nobody with that thing. They have like a few categories. Like if you wanted to request somebody for mental health, you know, you can send a Kaif for that. If you want to shoot a note to the kitchen, you can call it, shoot like a little email for that. That's what it is. It's like an emailing system, a little kiosk for your email or something. And then they had this thing, me being smart. Me being smart. They got this little thing. It's like they got a little category for trust. And I'm like, oh, this must be like what was I? Oh, they're blocking my music. They got bad. Okay, so like I said, I'm smart. So I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, okay, well, the only thing that's gonna be of use to me, I requested fruit, or vegetable. I'm like, since something that turned into like a request for like commissary, they said that you could buy some fruit. So, but that was like days later. Anyhow, being used while I was there, I attempted on probably 3 occasions to contact a bail bondsman. Like, I encourage you to read the journal that I made, like what I recorded while I was there. Because I'm not going to go into the details of any of that. But like I said, since I'm smart, when I see this trust thing, I'm like, oh, I understand that I'm a product of legal fiction. You know, like, that I'm not here because I broke a law. I am law. I understand I'm here because I violated a uniform commercial code. So I'm like, okay, this trust thing that they're talking about must be in relation to trust fund, because there was like a thing where you could apply that to the commissary. Me being smart.
That's not what it was. To be a trust means that you're someone that works on the inside and you want them to trust you to like go do laundry or do something and you make a little bit of money that way for a commissary. No. So, like I said, I encourage you to read it. I'm about to cut this short. The female to my left in cell number 23 was fucking the deputies. Read what I wrote. Read what I wrote, and they were very bold and shameless about it while I was boldly watching. And they were claiming it was me. That cell, you know, recall what I said about trying to apply karmic debt and parallel reality, suggesting that someone is someone they aren't. Even the inmate, you know, like she was kind of bold about it. Like she was telling some other females, you know, that they always put her in the same cell every time she comes there, you know, and it's kind of tucked off where I wouldn't talk to anyone. Did I cry? No, I did not. I did not cry the entire time that I was there, and I didn't want shit to do with none of them motherfucking inmates either. You can't see any. You can't see what's going on. And the camera probably... I had to tell the one girl, I'm like, look, because she had a habit. Like, you know, they had all formed their little thing, you know. There's only not a lot of girls over there. In that pod, it might have been, I don't know, 12. That's if it was maxed out, it might have been 12. You get what I'm saying? So like it was less than that most of the time. But she had a habit of whenever someone came out for their hour, and we're stuck in a cell for 23 hours a day, she wanted to call for them and yell for them. So like at first she was leaving me the fuck alone because it's obvious I don't want to be bothered. And then she started trying to no, I had to reject her right away. She asked me to hand somebody a piece of fucking candy, like slide some candy under somebody's door. And I was like, no, you can do it when you get out. But then I had to talk to her again. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm like, but I don't even like people. And I'm mad. I'm like really angry. Like, I just need to be left alone. So when you see me, don't call for me. When the camera won't catch you being in front of the cell, it'll only show that they didn't come out, and that they went and disappeared off the camera for a period of time. Yeah, read what I wrote. On the 15th, when my hearing finally came, I was supposed to get out that day. You know, they kept me another day. I didn't get out till 8 a.m., about 8 a.m. on the 16th of December. And then I didn't have my keys or anything on me, you know, like I had to go to the damn police department on foot to get those. What I did was read the digital journal. That's where all the details are. You know, that Word document even has like an option I saw yesterday now, like where it will read it to you. It'll read like what was written out loud. And what makes the digital... Speaking of which, listen to this track, bitch.
Tequila Oliver, 315 Upland Avenue, Apt. U, Akron, 044301, Judge Ali Nori Strummer, Probate Court, 219 S High Street, Akron, 044311, 12.26.20. Judge Strummer, I grew familiar with you as a result of being on civil commitment October 2018 minus January 2019.
Uh-oh.
Paranoia, delusion. I grew familiar with you as a result of being on civil commitment October 2018 minus January 2019 and January 2020 minus April 2020 in New Day Court. You oversee a variety of measures put in place to ensure the success of patients that are allegedly battling mental illness. I'm writing to inform you of the organized crimes that are associated with gang stacking, Because claims that are being noted as paranoia, delusion, and more are in fact being inflicted by covert operations. Gang stacking is a covert operation ran collectively by multiple government agencies. The estranged title has been established in every nation. The operation is a torture program designed for experimentation, compliance, and pleasure. The objective is to ruin every aspect of the attacked person's life by orchestrating crimes that are difficult to prove and not recognized by law enforcement. There is no uniform commercial code for how the government violates, tortures, torments, isolates, and destitute those they attack. No uniform commercial code for scientific attacks. Excuse the length of this complaint, but we were talking about almost 4 years of torture. The
Journal so cool is it has photos, you know, so like a lot takes place. I've written like in 3 weeks. I've written like 116 pages or something, 120. And that gives you an idea of how much takes place. And that's with me spending almost 2 weeks inside, okay? Like, when I go out, it's too much. Because I know what's going on. So, what else about jail? I go, I asked her, you know, and I ended up taking a plea deal. I was prepared to do 6 months. I'm not finished. I need to talk about this. So I'm sitting here. Okay, so this is what happens. Mental health comes. I'd never called for them. The one deputy, she buzzed into my room the one day. She was like, hey, mental health is here. Like, do you want to speak with them? And I was like, no. And she was like, okay. So they went away. But then they came back another day, and the guy told me about it. And I'm like, well, what is it that they want? What's the nature? And he was like, they're associated with the court. He said, hold on, let me go see. He went and he checked, and he buzzed in and let me know that they were with the court. And I was like, I guess I'll see what they have to say. And that's when I went down, and they told me what they do and how they're affiliated, what their program is. You know, it's like a probation program pretty much. Like, they pull some stuff. Anyhow. So I was absolutely sure that I wasn't going to do that. I was absolutely sure. I said, I'll do 6 months before I motherfucking do a year at CSS. So right now, like, you'll see that, like, how the details were changing and shifting. Like, I had no way of knowing that surveillance didn't catch this. It was once I pulled the police report after I got out that I knew that that wasn't an element that I faced. That was the one thing that I was harping on that influenced my decision the most.
Simply because in that moment it boils down to not the attorney but the judge, and the judge or magistrate, that's a difficult territory to deal with, because you never know how they're going to perceive it and how much of a threat they're going to find you. And it was just a risk I wasn't willing to take.
This is what I intended on doing. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not doing this ADM board SUMA thing, SUMA and CSS thing. I'm not doing that. I was like, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fight it, you know, and I'll have a chance to establish some things on the record or whatever. And I was like, worst case scenario, I'll do 6 months if I don't beat it or whatever. So then hold on, let me think real quick. Okay, so look, this is what it was. I'm like, okay, as long as I can get out to prepare, because like this Bell's bondsman thing, they make sure I don't get what they're trying to do is they're trying to push me to take a plea deal. You get what I'm saying? Like, Bell's bondsman ain't answering my call and stuff like that. Like, they ain't answering. They telling me they ain't gonna answer, you know, and all kind of stuff. So they're trying to push me to go the way that they want me to go. So I'm like, okay, whatever. These 15 days or whatever.
And I'm thinking this is going to be the best sleep of my life, and they would not let me sleep at all the entire time I was there. You have to see the recording, the numbers out of the amount of time spent there. I got not even a fourth of the amount of sleep that I was supposed to get.
Yes, but I just need to know that on this 15th day, I'm going to get a chance to get out and prepare the case. And that's kind of like where, once I talked to Brandy Roberts, things shifted a little bit, and I started looking at the plea deal, you know, because she's like, well, she was like, I have a chance. She was like, I was asking for a signature bond. She was like, it won't get approved today. She was like, but I can take that to the judge. She said, I'll probably end up meeting you back here this time next week. That's another week in jail for it not to even be definite. But she said, you know, she felt she had a chance with it.
But she also said that she felt that, you know, the judge might just reduce the bond. And she said she, you know, has seen her do it, you know, seen them do it, you know, that they'll give you like $100 bond. And if you can't come up with that, they say, so what? But they're not letting you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, no to the signature. If you can't make $100, it's just too bad.
I'm like, another week for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then what's that going to turn into? Like, anyhow, it'll be like prolonging the inevitable. So, and I asked her, you know, like about, and then she, like I said, during this time, I'm looking at the facts. This took place right in front of her camera. There's no doubt about it. They got the surveillance. There's no need. Even with them removing me from surveillance in the past, you know, that just wasn't even part of my thought process at the time. I couldn't even factor that in. So when I talked to her, I didn't ask about their surveillance. I just asked about third-party statements. And I actually ended up asking the magistrate about third-party statements. So, hold on, they're protecting my arm. Okay, they're burning me up. So anyhow, I'm like, I'm talking to her or whatever, talking about what I'm looking at and all that stuff or whatever. And she's like, you know, well, are you interested in this? And at first I'm like, no, but you know, that quickly changed. Like I said, especially when I realized that I might have to spend another week and I ain't got money for Siri. I don't got nobody to contact. You know, I just don't have anything. So it became more of a priority for me to get out. And I started looking at, I just need to get out. This is how I started looking at the situation. Like, let me just get out of this.
Okay, so look, check this out. There's about 2 numbers that I can recall. You know, everyone has a couple of numbers that they remember. And my mom's number is not a fucking option. It will never be an option. I will not allow the government posing as my mom to side with me. It's immoral to mingle with those who have wronged you. I've been too good. You hear me say this all the time. I've been too good in my motherfucking relationship. And no, bitch. If you burn me, if you cross me, it's done. Like, you wait till I get a hold of that agent. Those agents that have used that identity. I can't even see my motherfucking mom until I get justice for not wanting to snatch that bitch out her body.
And, you know, if I need to write a letter to the judge afterwards, then that's what I'll do. If I need to write a complaint, then that's what I'll do. If I need to, you know, try and establish something or an addendum to the record, then that's what I'll do. But originally I was planning on doing 6 months. I'm looking at that like,